The teacher assessment in primary science, the TAPS project, is based at Bath Spa Institute for Education, and it's funded by the Primary Science Teaching Trust. And we work with a range of people across the country, primary science quality mark schools, Primary Science Teaching Trust fellows, and 12 local schools. And we work with these schools so that we can develop a wide range of support, including a model of teacher assessment, and that's what this is all about today. With teachers, we've developed a model of teacher assessment, which is in the shape of a pyramid. At the base of the pyramid are blue layers. That's what's happening in the classroom. This is active pupils, self-assessing, peer assessing, things that are actively going on. And the darker blue layer is responsive teaching, teachers adapting their lessons. This is the core of what's going on and where the biggest impact will happen, and that's the bit that really we're pushing for lots of examples of. That's the information that can be summarised, and that's the key point of the pyramid, is that the information flows up the pyramid. It's being summarised at different points for different purposes, but there's nothing extra that needs to be done. We're aiming this to be valid because it's going to be based on a range of information. It's not just a tiny check at the end. We're aiming this information is going to be reliable, so consistent across the school, because moderation discussions are happening, and we're aiming for this information to also be something that's manageable, because it's based on information that's collected in the classroom during normal everyday practice, and by focusing those lessons, that's the bit that really tweaks the assessment to make it really manageable. The pyramid model has evolved through a design-based research approach. The teachers and schools who've worked with us on the project have helped us develop what goes into the pyramid model. But as they've worked on the model, it's also influenced what's going on back in school. I've asked 3 members of staff from Shaw Primary School in Wiltshire to explain how they've helped develop the TAPS pyramid and the impact that it's had in their school.
We've been lucky enough at Shaw that we've been involved in the TAPS project right from the beginning. So 3 members of the staff were on it right at the beginning and through the development of the TAPS pyramid, which came straight back into school and was shared with all of the staff. So then once we were all on board, a lot of our ideas, a lot of our children's work and learning has fed back into the pyramid as examples to be used back there. Then other members of staff have joined the TAPS project as it's gone along, which has then developed their science teaching back here, using grids to find out children's knowledge before we start topics, using talk partners. So it's really developed a lot of our assessment for learning skills within the school.
The teachers being really clear about what it is that they're trying to teach and what they're looking for, and then how you go about tracking that and reporting.
It's been fascinating working with the TAPS pyramid in particular. Very early on in the development of that, and I was at those initial meetings with Carol, it was so clear to me that what is good assessment for learning within science is good assessment for learning in any other aspect of the curriculum. Quite quickly, within the first few months, decided we were going to adopt the AFL science pyramid as a way of tracking assessment for learning across the whole school. So looking at the AFL pyramid that was developed for science, we've adapted it slightly, just taken a few words out, to be perfectly honest, and not referred to science, and we now use that as part of our classroom observation practice right the way across the school, and it does just make it very clear what good AFL looks like. Children are taking more responsibility for their own learning. It's very clear again that teachers do make the learning clear for the children. Success criteria, steps to success, all of those kind of things which are vital for moving children steadily forward in their learning. Teachers' peer observations, and also children responding to each other. It's not forgotten. If people know they're going to be observed, they've got an aid memoir there. How can I show the very, very best teaching and learning going on? What is also clear is that people just are not just doing it for an observation. We have book scrutinies, pupil voice meetings, and children are very used to all of those aspects of assessment for learning right the way across the school. It's twofold. It enables the children to articulate their learning and their understanding, but it also gives us a record, and a very easy record to look at, of what the children have achieved and what they understand.
The actual pyramid itself is used by the senior leadership team, and they will highlight areas that they've seen throughout the lesson, by talking to children, by speaking to the member of staff afterwards. But it's really embedded those skills in all areas because it's now normal practice in the classroom that those things are being used most of the time. Then the pyramid is used in the feedback to the member of staff and how they might develop particular areas further.
But how much do we involve the children in self-assessing their own work? How much do we get them really talking collaboratively? How much do we get them thinking about the next bit of their learning journey? So we've used that as a performance management tool actually for certainly last year, and we're continuing using it this year. I then can tick off as I see things happening, and anything that maybe is glaringly not happening, then that's conversation that you can have with the teacher and say, well, this would be even better if perhaps this was happening as well. So it's been good to develop teachers' skills. So yeah, altogether it's been brilliant.